Welcome back to the Insiders Podcast. Matt here. Quick little intro for you and an apology. We had some technical issues and some microphone issues just on this episode. It is very, very infrequent. Just stick with it. You'll love the episode. Got some great insights. Stick with us. Check it out. We're very sorry. It won't happen again. Love you all. Hope you enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Insiders. Here we are. It's mid-October. Hello, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, good. Can't complain. It's super warm for October here, even though
super warm down here.
Yeah, the weather's like not cooperating, and some of the, like we were just discussing, the swells and some of the forecasts are looking amazing and not coming to fruition, but still warm, so can't complain too much.
Viva the Indian summer, we're loving it.
Yeah. And
just to kick off where we finished off on the last episode. You know, like a long story. My son went to kick the ball at school yesterday, missed the ball, and took the post with his foot. So I had to go and get him and come home. He was hopping. So I've had him, and then we went and got an X-ray today. Luckily, my wife got him in where she works. There's a radiology department, and while I was waiting for him to do that, she works right in front of the surf at Cabreton, one of the most famous spots here in France, which is funny. Her office has got a view of it. I sent a video of it to my friend, and he said he couldn't work there. So while I was watching there, Leo was out surfing, Leo Fioravanti.
Yeah.
No quickie sticker on his board.
Well, that's what I was about to say. News just dropped to the rest of the world and to people who don't listen to us all the way through that, yeah, Leo is no longer with Quick. He's just put it on Instagram.
There you go. Good. So I was wondering if I could say that, but who listens to us?
I was going to say, who actually made it to the 37.5-minute mark on the last episode to hear that information? But yeah, he's just put a post out saying, like, he kept it pretty mutual. Like, he kept it like, oh, it's been a great journey, and thanking them and stuff like that, which obviously he's got to. But it is controversial.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? I get the feeling that maybe he's too expensive for Quiksilver these days, or whether it's a case of he thinks he is, or his agent thinks he is, or he actually is up to anyone's own interpretation.
Yeah, I wondered if it was anything to do with as well, like the fact that Quiksilver going to be distancing themselves maybe a bit further away from the WSL and WSL athletes, because obviously I know they sponsor like Rio Wider, and I know they sponsor like Canoa and stuff like that, but like the schedules come out. Next year's the first year ever that there's not a Quiksilver event on the whole tour. We obviously broke down the reason why they aren't in France and why, how, and what's the crack with the WSL and Quickie. And I just wondered whether they're going to take it in a different way.
Potentially. I heard from a couple of highly ranked insiders that the Australians were making the decisions and they didn't see the value of the European riders, or rider in this case.
Right, yeah.
Let's just say that you can get 10 riders probably these days for the same paycheck as you probably would have had to pay to get Leo from his signing for 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, it's funny, isn't it? Because, like, obviously he's on the world tour now, so he's got that in his negotiating pocket. if Italy go to the Olympics, he's obviously going to be their number one pick. So he's got that in his pocket. He's got the fact that he's obviously done work with Stab and all of that. Like his negotiation powers would probably be like as good as anyone's. But at the same time, how much money does he actually bring into Quicksilver? Like how much?
And how much, more importantly, can they afford, them or
Yeah,
who else, to spend?
yeah,
Because what are
exactly.
they doing? They're selling clothes, really. And how
Yeah,
many are they selling?
yeah, and
It's a
how many?
lifestyle brand, and you got to lead from the start. But they're mainstream now. Let's face realities. They're mainstream. So
Well,
Mr. X and Mrs. Y, they don't know who he is when they see him up in an ad anyway. So they could put that ad, if
yeah,
you got a good haircut of you in a flash moment of your best surfing with a Quicksilver, and
mm,
people wouldn't really know.
well, that's the other thing as well is what's Leo's value to Quick in terms of all round because he doesn't wear he's sponsored by Gucci. So he doesn't
It's
wear
very
Quick.
contradictory, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically he's a wetsuit rider for them and a board short rider. Whereas like you look at people like Mikey Wright's just released a thing with them and it's like Mikey Wright isn't sponsored by Gucci. Of course he's not. And he'll be head to toe Quick. Rio Wada, head to toe Quicksilver. Like so if they're gonna pay them the same, they get more for their money.
And then like, and I
And
wouldn't,
obviously, yeah, they're
I
not gonna
wouldn't
pay
be
the
so
same.
rude. I was hanging out with Rio last week. He stayed in one of my surf houses. An incredibly polite young kid, and you could bet a big bet that there's no way he would be near either Mikey or Leo Salary just because he grew up in Bali and they know that
Yeah,
the your values. I think his international marketing value is equal, but his local currency, where they pay him, they just say that's what it is, and potentially there it equals the same anyway. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah. And he's got again, like you say about the Australians making the decisions, it's a lot easier for Rio to go to Australia than it is for Leo to go to Australia. Like if they need him for anything quick or anything like strike mission wise. But um yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what Leo does now though, because he's obviously just done
It's
this.
not just really a question like we're saying, Leo. It's not necessarily just, you know what I mean. It's just a figurehead of what's happening across the whole movement, with
Yeah,
different riders leaving. Because okay, Callum Robinson's on the CT, and he doesn't have a sticker on his board.
no, but with Leo, for example, he's quite rare in the fact that he's got Gucci. He's obviously just done his thing with Inter Milan, which I can imagine is quite a paycheck. The way that the amount
Yeah,
of like things have been running for it and stuff. And it's funny because, like I said, he was basically wearing Quicksilver wetsuits. Does Leo does Leo need a wetsuit sponsor, or does he just you know black out some wetsuits, or like it's almost like does he need to do it? Does he need that obligation, or can he do other things?
I saw someone delivering him some wetsuits the other day from another brand because we
Okay,
had a party at my place and he was across the other side of the road having a party for his win in Portugal and some different brands that were delivered stuff. But even if they weren't being delivered, he could go and afford to buy a couple, couldn't he?
yeah,
You
exactly.
could
I
get
mean,
straight online and order a couple of neat essentials.
yeah, all black.
Cheap. So all black, no logo.
Yeah, maybe he'll get on the John Florence wetsuit brand because they're about £900 for a free two, which is
How well, let's again. How long do you reckon John Florence's ex machine machine that can last as a brand?
I reckon it'll be fine. I reckon it'll go for a long time, to be honest.
Because Bob Hurley and Big Bucking and it's American.
Yeah, and it's run pretty well. Like Pat O'Connell's in charge of it, and he's been there and done it and stuff like that. So I think it's run pretty well. And like, yeah, John John Sale, John's the opposite to there. Actually, yeah, I was gonna say, actually, I've got to say, thanks to Florence Marine X because they sorted me out with a new coat today. This beautiful looking bad boy. So,
Inside,
I know inside on the JJF, it's
you know, what do you know? You know the UK distributor.
yeah, the two guys who rep it, Stu and Deck, is a little name drop. They yeah, I'm good friends with them, and they sorted me out because they're legends. So yeah, good on you boys. Appreciate it. But I think like the quality of his stuff is up there, and I think it's not just surf stuff. Like it is branching out. So I reckon John's is going to stay around longer than Julian's for sure. Um, but let's dive into a couple talking about Julian. Have you watched, because it's the next episode, the Red Bull No Contest in Italy?
Yes, yes. Italy or Fiji? You said you said talking to Julian, and then you
Yeah,
said
no,
Red Bull because it's one of both of them.
yeah,
I
the
watched
Italy,
them all.
yeah, the Italy one though, specifically about Italy. I mentioned Julian because he was in the Fiji one, but the Italy one I thought was super eye opening.
In respect, yeah, I thought they're stoked with they're stoked. You can see how proud they are to show their spots there and stuff.
Yeah, and they actually have good surf.
Yeah, a lot of good surf, in
Mm.
Sardinia. We shouldn't be saying it. I think a lot of people know anyway.
I mean, they just put it all over Red Bull, so I think we're okay.
Yeah. I went to Italy, not even Sardinia. I went to Italy in the middle of summer many years ago, and Pipsy and Gracie got fun waves. I asked for a week out, and like Pipsy was going to take your wetsuit, and I was going, "We bored." I was going, "We're not going to need that." And it was 4 foot, and then I've been to course as well, and that was great waves. There's a lot of waves. There's just not as many waves as what like what you put in a postcard, I guess, where people think that a surf spot should have 300 days of surf a year. Do you know
Yeah,
somewhere like that?
not in Europe.
I
Well,
don't think
I mean, to be fair, there are some in Europe, but yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, we've got 320 days of surf here, easy, but of those 320, 60 are no, more than 60, 100 blown out. Know what I mean?
yeah,
Too
but
big.
yeah, yeah, you have a lot of days where it's like properly wild.
But Italy was good, though. They got great food. They got good waves.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit shiny if we're going to talk about that series. It's a bit fucking shiny for me. Oh wow, it's unreal. We're locals. We've already talked about this. Like if I turned up there, they wouldn't be taking me to the best restaurant. And
what I wanted to ask you about
and
this, what I wanted to ask you about is, don't you think it's a bit weird? Say, for example, I went to Italy on a trip, and every surf spot I took a picture of where it was, named the spot,
you get smacked.
I'd get fucked up. And like, no disrespect to Ashton Goggins or whatever, but basically that Red Bull No Contest is like, right, here's all the best places to go surf in New York. Here's all the best places to go surf in Italy. And it's like, I'm sure that that's frowned upon in the surf industry, like in the surf.
That, we already talked about that. We shouldn't go in the Fiji model. How you said how great it was.
Yeah.
Let's not give too much press, but I saw something which you would like to talk about a bit.
Yeah.
The pipe comp, the Vans pipe comp.
Yeah, see,
which feels very which feels very corporate.
Do you know what it was? Is I thought I'd be on board, but then to me, what it feels like is they watched one wave of Nathan Fletcher where he got barreled and then done that ginormous air, but he didn't land it, but he done that huge air, and then they've gone, we want to see loads of people do that. And to be honest, I don't get excited for it. Like for me at Pipe, I want to see barrels.
I
And
don't see how they're going to be able to give like a 4-foot barrel, a good one, just so they get a good 4-foot barrel to a big air, a bigger score than a 12-foot hell barrel.
well,
Nowhere.
I think that's their point is they wouldn't like the goal isn't to go and get a 12-foot barrel. The goal is to get a barrel then an air, not a 12-foot barrel with no air kind of thing.
You'll see how they're going to do a 12-day waiting period. It's fine. The guys are all going to still want to get the best 12-foot barrel because it's not even for winning the comp. You can also make a career out of getting the best barrel against other 32 dudes.
I like the idea, but as well, like I think I do like the idea, but I just think it's a bit confused. Like I really like the idea that someone else is running a comp. Like
as long as they got good webcasts and everything, it'll be great.
With Stab doing it, with Stab involved, it'll be world class in terms of the actual webcast and stuff like that. But I just don't really understand this one, if you know what I mean. Is like
they got Vans as well. They've got a huge foothold. Why they supported the Triple Crown for 1 trillion years.
Yeah.
So they've got every base covered.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just I just think that judging potentially will be confusing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna have to set it out and stuff. I like the idea of the fact that it's like no priority and that the other sides of it, like how they're scoring it and that it's like almost like a leaderboard and the fact that I'm pretty certain I read that they're mixing men's and women's as well, which I think is cool. So I do like a lot of it, but I just feel like I'm just not sure about the air part of it, basically.
The no priority thing's going to get a little bit loose.
Yeah.
Sounds funny in school, but you know,
it's all fun and games until someone starts, because I don't know what the prize money and stuff is, but when you start talking about like some serious dough,
100 grand, man.
Is that how much it is?
Yeah, and I don't know. It says equal men's and women, so that means it's a 400 grand comp.
That's crazy.
100, 60, 35, 5 or some stuff like that.
That's
first, second, third, fourth.
Yeah, that's a big paycheck.
100 grand, and you win the pipe comp. That's huge. Is that as big as what do they win on a CT?
But yeah, 100 grand, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's 80 grand before the cut and 100 after, or the other way around.
So because I'm very sporadic, what do you reckon they pay Torren Need Essentials? Huh?
Not a lot. Not as much.
I mean, Leo not signed back on. Torrens, is he one of the top 10 most influential surfers
100%.
in the planet at the moment? 100%. That's what I think.
If Torren Martyn surfed for any brand, like board brand, the model he was surfing would be in the top 5 selling boards. Fact. If you
had a signature backpack that was canvas, and waterproof,
with a signature rolled up board sock that you can sniff.
I think he's incredibly influential. So, see what I mean? In this day and game, do you?
But how much respect do you give
You
to how much respect do you
just get
give to
paid what
Torren?
people tell you. Huh?
I reckon this is not fact. This is just I like to think that I give a lot of respect to him on the fact that probably when he wasn't as popular, um, that Need Essentials backed him, and that Simon Jones, one of the Earth surfboards, gave him surfboards. And then right now, I reckon he could send an email to literally any surf company in the world saying, "Do you want to sponsor me?" And they would be dropping him some big
If
bucks.
he had an agent, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe he does.
but I don't reckon he wants to. I reckon he actually says to
He
himself,
doesn't
like,
care.
there's a
Living.
yeah, and he's giving back to Need because they give him a lot of freedom and they give him a lot of like help
They
and
pay for
stuff.
filming. They pay for his trip. It's a pretty cool kind
Yeah,
of gig as well.
definitely. So I think
Yeah,
there's
yeah, we'll pay for your trip for a year. Go for a year surf trip. We'll just pay it for him. I wonder how that works. I guess if he has to like get expense receipts
yeah, I don't
or
know,
see
but
see they don't talk about that. You were pretty spiked, which I'm not really. I don't really care about that. How surfers get paid on stuff thing. I think that's even though I'm not saying that you're wrong to find it interesting. We're we're different age spectrums.
do you know what it
But
is though? I think
you
you've
can
been
read stuff like that in a book about like sales reps who sell
yeah
toothpicks. How one dude was a really good toothpick salesman, and I've read sales books where it's just as interesting. It's just a different product.
I think the thing for me with it is because it's one of those things where I love that series and I've loved watching it, but you in your previous job role and stuff have and with the people you know and the environment you're in, you've been privy to that a lot of that information, like you know it. Whereas a lot I'm watching it and going,
Yeah, that's what I thought
I'm
myself.
watching it and thinking, far out, Geordie Smith got served on a beach after he came out of a US Open heat and sitting there thinking like I didn't realize that they like Quick and like Billabong bought fucking aeroplanes and shit. Whereas probably due to my age as well, because it was all happening when I was like in the 90s when I was younger. And whereas that was when you was like right in the middle of it. So I can fully understand why you
All the
don't see
naughties.
yeah. Oh yeah, or that, yeah. Where I was like yeah, so I can understand why you don't find it as like gripping or but for me it's like I watch it and go shit I didn't know that and oh fuck I didn't know that like so it makes it interesting for me.
Yeah, I can see it's pull. It's like the Daily Mirror putting topless girl on page 3. They're just sort of people here. Oh, someone won. It's got shock
Mm.
value.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and like that's exactly it is. Look at their title of it as well. Stab's been very clever. How surfers get paid. So far, there's not been a thing where it's gone. This is how you get paid as a surfer.
Exactly.
So it's clever, but then that's what it is. Sam McIntosh is a fucking genius in my opinion.
What I like lately, I've been and I've had my ups and downs with beach grit, but
Oh yeah,
Chaz is at the moment doing a series of stories about Giselle, but how do
yeah,
you say her name?
and Kelly
Mentioned
just
she's broke. Yeah, because she's broken up with Tom Brady, and
yeah,
like if you've had a hard day and you flick onto one of those, oh, they're funny. That's it.
they're hilarious.
That's what we need a bit of fun with his clickbait. We need a bit of fun. His one where she was saying something about thing. Oh, there was that thing in their relationship,
Yeah,
and he said how come she just kept referring to Kelly as a thing.
I love beach some beach grip things. I
I'm back on board with them. Oh, it's
Yeah,
funny.
like when they go for Jonah Hill, that makes me fucking laugh as well. But
But you
um,
won't get it. You won't get it with Stubb.
not as much, no. And I
And
think,
they're all premium now as well. Trucks, the Australian famous Australian
yeah,
surfing magazine. If you want to read surf articles, it's premium. You got to pay. Is
yeah.
it the same in the UK with Carve? Is it
No,
Carve and
carbon
Wavelength?
wavelengths, they're still
Free.
open,
They
yeah,
don't have pull.
but they don't do a lot. They they are like they're lagging behind basically. Um, but what I do think is good is also like talking about the beach grit stuff and that is watching the Raglan Surf Report guy. He's in Bali at the moment, and watching some of his videos are they're funny as
He's
well.
good. He's good. It's good that surfers are becoming funny again.
Well, do you know what I was talking about this the other day because do you know the wetsuit product, the wetsuit cleaner, Piss Off from Rip Curl?
No.
So Rip Curl have had this wetsuit cleaner. It's been on the market for years and years and years and years and years, and it's called Piss Off, right? Literally on the bottle is written Piss Off. And we sell wax, like we sell Mrs. Palmer's wax, and one of the waxes is Mrs. Palmer's and his five daughters, right? Which is a reference to masturbating, if anyone doesn't know. And then there's an Australian wax brand that we sell called Far King, and on the front it's written Far King Great Surf Wax. So if you say it, you sound like an Australian saying fucking Great Surf Wax, right? And it's funny and I said, it's a shame now. I don't feel like a surf brand could bring to market a product called Piss Off or Mrs. Palmer's and the Five Daughters and stuff. Like,
They're corporate.
and I miss that. I want that. Like, you want like to be back on those things where you know,
Wait till the inside is fucking. Wait till our first run
yeah,
merchandise comes out.
insiders cross beach grit.
2023
Yeah,
headband.
a headband.
Tennis, tennis headbands. My son just got them for basketball. They're unreal.
Yeah, yeah, we're on.
Have you got anything have you got anything else you'd like to ramble on about, Matt? I got a couple of few later ons. I got a good do's and don'ts, but
Let's
I'm
do
not
that.
pushing you.
No, let's do that because we've got like 8 and a bit minutes left of this, so we can wrap
I
it up
reckon I can
nicely.
whittle through 7 of that and give you 1 minute for your two.
All
But
right.
I'm kidding.
No,
Huh?
you go then. You hit me with your while it's fresh in your mind as well.
Yeah, just a second. I'm looking. It would be in my car on the back seat, or I brought it in. Sorry about that, viewers. We're just talking about where my son's school bag is. You tell me your do's and don'ts, Matt.
Okay, so my do's and don'ts. Right, I'm gonna nick that as well. So do have fun when you're surfing and when you're watching stuff about surfing and when you're like whoever you're following on Instagram and stuff. Don't get too heavy on, you know, these people are constantly scoring and your home break's shitty or not. Just have fun with it. Follow Raglan Surf Report, follow Beach Grit, follow Mackenzie Bowden because all of them are hilarious and they bring a better side of surfing back. So that would be my do is just to have more fun with the surfing that you're watching and what you're kind of digesting. Make it fun because it can all be a bit too serious sometimes. My don't is a special shout out to this is a first time mention for old Jake. He's a new friend of mine. He works at Board Shop now. He's our graphic.
Blake.
Yeah, so Jake's our graphics guy, and he's a tell you what, he's an intelligent guy. He's probably switched on, and I got a lot of time for him, and I like him a lot. He went to use a new board yesterday, and he was asking me about fin setups, and I spent about 20 minutes explaining ride it as a quad today, mate, and explaining why. I won't go into it. And I said, right, in the boot of my car, there's a he had two quad rears, and I said, in the boot of my car, there's a thruster set. Just take the two front fins, you're good to go. He sees the forecast, he gets changed, he rushes to the beach, gets to the beach and he's forgot the fins out of my car. So he surfs a new board as a 20, but with just 2 quad rears in the front fins. So my don't for everybody else is don't forget your fins.
How did it go for him?
He actually said it was all right. He said he was able to go down the line on it and stuff. Bit loose if he tried to turn on it and stuff, but he said he still managed to get it working. So yeah, he managed to get it going. But yeah, that's my don't forget your fins. Do have more fun with what you digest with your surfing.
I've got a don't whammy.
Right, hit us.
Because I grew up in an era all my friends were, which was do swing and go for any wave you think you can get. Eddie would go. Brock Little was one of our heroes and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm the other day at a good day at one of my locals, and there was a good swell that was supposed to come in, and it delayed coming in. And I surfed for 4 hours, and it was the last hour of it, and then we got a 12-foot set come through, which was glassy, it was nice and everything. And I've swung for this wave. It had happened a couple of times earlier where the sets were kind of what's the sequentially when it's getting bigger by a little bit. There's a really good adjective for that. Sequentially, progressively getting a little, right?
Yeah.
And I'd already not gone on a couple because there was people caught underneath, and I swung for this wave, and there was a dude right in my line, 20 meters in, but this was a bigger wave. So I've split the session, I'm not going because you can't.
Nah.
So I've jumped off and I go to grab my board, and the lip pulls it out of my hands, and it's a bigger board. It's my 9.6, the general manager that Bradley did me, and it's kind of heavy, and it's gone kind of not straight out, but it got sucked, and I'm going, oh, heavy. And just thinking the dude will plunge for the bottom like what I would have done.
Yeah.
And then it'd come up, and the board's on top of him.
Far out.
And the fins are near his head. And I've swung over there so quick, and I get the board off, and I'm going, are you all right? And he's rattled, and he sits up on his board, and I see there's a couple of holes in his wedding near his ribs.
Ooh.
And I'm trying, I look in there, and I see a bit of blood, but I think it was a scratch.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Hopefully, anyway. So then his mate's going, you can't swing on waves, you can't do that, it's not the world champions. It's trying to give me a ref. And I understand him trying to give a ref.
Yeah.
I understand it. I didn't get into him with it because I was of the opinion that you shouldn't, and it's 100% sure you shouldn't be sitting in underneath the takeoff zone, especially at this spot. And this guy, his friend got into me. I've never seen him out there ever, and he wasn't really on a board for that like that. And he's one of those guys, and everyone's got one at their local. I don't think he likes me. He never says hello, whatever. We're of different nationalities. He's not French either. And I didn't see, and by then I was I wasn't even talking to you, and he was like, yeah, well, it's my mate. And I was going, well, let's worry about your mate instead of whatever. And then we kind of got split up because some waves were coming and stuff. And I'm telling you, I didn't sleep properly for a few nights because, even then, I was worried that he was, I hope he didn't have to get stitches or anything like that.
Yeah.
But relatively, it was nothing compared to the fact if he had got the fins or the nose of the board to the head.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. And my other friend, Rob Vaughan, was there the other day, and he was sitting inside too, and he said to me, I shouldn't have done it. He's got his set on the head, his board snapped in two. And
all right, yeah.
the don't is don't sit inside on a peak.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. It's not a good spot. And also, don't go for a wave if someone's in front. Full stop. Which I don't do, and I don't want people to do when I'm the person. This other dude came over and paddled up to me a bit later. He said, "Man, don't worry. It was not at all your fault. It was a case of both of you being kind of in the wrong spot at the wrong time. And it happens all the time.
That's fair enough. Big waves as well make it harder.
Even sometimes in smaller waves.
Yeah.
Don't go if someone's right in front of you, unless you really don't care."
And then you still shouldn't. But yeah.
All right, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Right, we'll speak soon. Have a good weekend, mate. And we'll be back next week.
Next week with Liam O'Brien, hopefully.
Get on it, Lobby. Au revoir.